Howdy, everybody, and welcome back to the GMS Mobile RPG. Today we are continuing to follow along with Heartbeast as he makes a mobile RPG for Godot, except this is the GMS version. Remember, everybody, Kickstarter, still going, 66 hours, 230 backers. It's already pledged to go, but more money equals more opportunity for stretch goals. And what I'm hoping is that eventually this course here for a 2D game will eventually lead into getting some 3D stuff like this in the future from him. Wouldn't that be fun, being able to learn how to do 3D stuff? Anyways, so let's get cracking. We are going to be working on making our game more turn-based. So right now, when we play the game, we can sword, but every time we sword, he attacks. So we're going to start using our AP. So let's get started on that. Let's come over here, and let me pull up my reference code here to get us started working with our AP and all that fun stuff. Okay. That'll be a good place to start. So let's go down to our attack button. And what are we doing with it right now? We're checking to see if a parent enemy exists. And if the enemy exists, if the enemy doesn't exist, then we can't attack. But also, we want to do a check for if object underscore stats dot AP underscore is less than AP underscore required. Exit. So we are going to give our attacks an AP cost. By default, if we come back to our parent button, we can just throw that in there. AP underscore required equal to 1 by default. That seems fairly decent, right? And we need to set it up so that we actually take AP when we do an attack. So let me zoom in here so that you guys can see the code a little better. And use AP. Affect enemy with object underscore stats. We want to AP underscore equal to max 0 AP underscore minus 1. It's exactly the same as we were doing with the HP there for the parent enemy. And if AP underscore is equal to 0, then we are going to transition to the enemy's attack phase. And when we do that, we are going to create a special object for doing this. So go to your miscellaneous area, and, well, actually, create a new group. Call it effects. We're going to create a new effect object here. We're going to call it object underscore turnover. And no, it's not a delicious buttery pastry filled with jam. Yes, I'm very clever for coming up with that. Back over here, we're going to create instance underscore create underscore layer. That object xy instances object underscore turn underscore turnover, and this is going to actually do the turnover at this point. because we have run out of AP, the player can no longer do anything. So what is this turn object going to do? Well, it is going to create a bit of a text that shows up and tells us that our turn has ended and that the enemy's turn has started. So let's give it a text underscore enemy equal to enemy's turn. And note that I'm doing it all in capital letters because I want all of my text to be in capitals. There we go. And when we create this object, we're currently just creating it wherever. It doesn't really matter where we create it because we are going to give it a new position. X start is equal to room underscore width divided by 2. Y start is equal to room underscore height plus 50. These positions are in the middle of the room and at the bottom of the room plus an additional 50, so it's completely off screen. X is equal to X start, Y is equal to Y start. So that'll move our object to that position before it is drawn for the first time, so it doesn't really matter where it's drawn. All right. So secondly, we're going to want to draw some stuff. Throw in a draw event. Draw some text. Our underscore text is equal to, and here we're going to use a ternary operator. Turn equal to turn.enemy text underscore player underscore colon text underscore enemy. And this is just a fancy way of doing an if-else statement. So if global.turn is equal to turn.enemy, then set variable underscore text to text underscore player. Otherwise, set it to text underscore enemy. Draw underscore set underscore color, C underscore red, because we want our text to be red. And draw underscore 9 slice underscore button. Underscore text, sprite underscore 9 slice underscore hover. X. And we're going to do a little bit of calculation here. Minus string underscore width underscore text divided by 2 minus 5. And I'll explain that in a second here. And for the Y, it's just at our Y position. Then we have a width and a height. Again, string underscore width underscore text plus 10 string underscore height underscore text. That'll be it. So what we got here for our width of this button that we're drawing. So this button actually isn't going to be interactive because we're not giving it a parent to a button or anything, but it will draw the 9 slice of the button, which is what we want along with the text. So we have our string width of the text plus 10, so that'll give us a bit of padding, and we know that this draws the text in the center, so that'll give us 5 pixels of padding on either side. String height of the text, as we already know, there's like 4 pixels of extra padding above our text, 3 pixels I guess, and 4 pixels below our text, so that gives it plenty of height as well. And coming back here to our X position, we want to draw it at our X position, which is currently in the middle of the room. But then we want to offset it to the left by 50% of our text width, of our string width here. So that way it's centered. And we need to remember to subtract an additional 5 because we have 5 pixels of padding on both edges because of the plus 10. All right. Okay, let's see. Last but not least, we want to give this a step event. And what is this step event going to do? Well, let me pull it up. Move towards the top third, then the fly off and disappear. So y is going to be equal to approach y to target via a slightly convoluted calculation I came up with. And we'll get to that in a second. If y is equal to target one underscore, then target underscore is equal to target 2 underscore. So what are these targets? Well, we've already talked about right here. We want to head towards the top third, then fly off and disappear. So we'll make 3 variables: target underscore, target 1 underscore, and target 2 underscore. Our target 1, well, our target is going to be equal to target 1 underscore by default. So actually we should probably move that from there to there, otherwise we'll crash. Target 1 is equal to room underscore height times 0.3 towards the top third. And our target 2 is negative 200, so that's just somewhere really high above the game window, the view area. So you can actually control the speed of this animation based on how far away you set this target to here, and also how close you set this to the bottom of the room height. We're not going to be doing that completely. There's also a speed underscore is equal to 6, which we will be using as well. And last but not least, depth is equal to negative 99999. And this is just so that it draws above everything else in this in the instances layer. Otherwise, it'll draw underneath it, and you won't be able to see it. So let's do this step here. Let's go into the code here for this approach. Absolute value of the d sign of y minus target underscore times speed underscore plus 0.1. And the reason why we put a plus 0.1 here is so that we don't ever hit a 0 with the d sign. Because if it hits 0, then we'll stop moving, and if we stop moving, then if it stops moving, then we get stuck, and it doesn't move anymore. Because it's dependent on its location for its movement speed. Alright, last but not least, kill me and reset turns. So if y is less than or equal to negative 20, and that's just where I found it felt good after flying off about that far from the top of the screen. You don't want to go to like negative 10 because then it'll still be visible on the screen when it dies, and that wouldn't be very good. So if global.turn is equal to turn.enemy, then that means we are going to be going to the player object, else we are giving the turn to the enemy. So when we give the turn to the player, we need to with parent underscore enemy state underscore is equal to enemy underscore states dot defend, and object object underscore stats dot ap underscore is equal to object underscore stats dot max underscore ap underscore, and global dot turn is equal to turn dot player. Else with parent underscore enemy state underscore is equal to enemy underscore states dot attack and global dot turn is equal to turn dot enemy. There we go. So yeah, that's almost it. Last but not least, it's underscore destroy. Gotta remember to disappear this thing afterwards, otherwise we'll end up executing this code multiple times, and we don't want to have that be happening. So speaking of our parent enemy, we need to make some changes over here. We go over to our step. No, that's not it. Here we go. Our attack and defend states. Make sure everything's the same with the draw. Yeah, everything's still the same there. Okay, in our attack state, we currently have it set up so that we attack after 0.3 seconds and all this other rigmarole. But we want to do a little bit extra here. First off, we want to actually make it so that the attack does damage to the player. So here at 1.1 seconds, so this is when the attack has peaked. So we've told it to move towards this -2 +8 position here. So once we get to this point, our attack animation has peaked and we start moving back. So if target underscore x underscore does not equal x start, and target underscore y underscore does not equal y start, then object underscore stats dot hp underscore is equal to max of 0 or object underscore stats dot hp -3. HP underscore -3. So this is basically telling it if we haven't set our target x to x start yet, or our target y to y start yet, which should be the case in the first time this instance runs, this else if runs, then make sure that you do this. So this will only happen once. Secondly, we need to change how we change our state here. So we currently set up our animation underscore timer is equal to -1, right? But then we try to change the churn and change our state, but we are now going to be setting this to a new state I made called the wait state, and you'll need to put that into your enemy states. And this we are going to instead create another one of those turnovers. Turnover. There we go. And this should all be the same. Coming back to our attacks, well, come over to our add event real quick. Other state 2 wait state. In the wait state, it just does nothing. That way we don't end up attacking or trying to move or anything on accident when we aren't supposed to be doing that. Coming back to our defend state, we also need to change how we move over to the attack by removing it completely, because we do that in the object turnover. And that should be it. Yep, that's it. So let's give this a check-see. See if we got everything running so far. We got our AP. I attack. And the turn hasn't turned over yet. And we lost an AP point. He did a shake. Player turn. Oh, looks like I did something wrong somewhere. Oh, that's for sure. Let's come back to the attack button. Let's make it so that you're only taking away 3 so I can attack a couple more times. And let's see, where did I go wrong here? So attack with the sword, attack with the sword, attack with the sword. Then it instantly goes back to being the player's turn. So that means I did something wrong over here. And the effects, turnover. We got the text enemy, room width, divide by 2, plus 50, X star, Y star, room height times 0.3, 200, target 1, speed 6, depth 9999. Make sure that's correct. Yeah, that's all the same. If Y is equal to target 1, then target underscore is equal to target 2 underscore. Kill me and reset turns. If Y is less than or equal to -20, if global turn is equal to turn.enemy, and with parent it must be in the enemy, I guess, then in that case. Because something in the enemy is telling it to turn over immediately. And I wonder how many of you people saw this before I did. So copy paste, nothing changed that I could see there. Well, the other option is to throw in with the debugger real quick. That's how I usually handle these things. So when you are created, do an attack, do an attack, do an attack. You're created, text enemy. Dot, 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 dot. Let's see where else would be. Go over to there. And we skipped over all of this because we are not. skips the rat's turn and goes immediately to our turn. Parent enemy. Good. Turn enemy, defend. Oh wait. So if it's going directly to our turn rather than to the enemy's turn, then that must mean even if I do that, doesn't that fix it? No, why are you popping up saying it's the player's turn? I'm telling you. Oh, wait. Why did I go over everything else first when it was probably this in the first place? There's one line of code here I forgot. If global turn does not equal turn.player, exit. We don't want to be attacking when we are not in the player's attack in the player's turn. And that's right there. There it is. Pop. Goes the weasel. Alright. And annoyingly enough, that made a bunch of dead air, but now it should be fixed. There we go. We got a nice little effect. And we actually do turns. And we now take damage. And of course, you can change the speed of that by changing where it is popping up in the middle of the where it's supposed to target towards. So if you give it a target that's farther away, then it'll move faster, of course, because we are using a lerp of sorts right here in this code by using the y minus target times speed setup. So this would give us a changing value over time. So the closer you get towards the target, the slower you go. The further away you are from the target, the faster you go. Plus I threw in this D sign. That way it would slow down and then speed back up again, so that you get the effect, so people can actually see what they're doing, read the sign. Anyways, thank you everybody for watching, and better luck with your program than I had today. So remember to support the Kickstarter, and have a good night.